Hi, hello, hello, hi, and welcome to all our hearts and minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good and the bad, the concerning and uplifting, and just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimi, our passionate heart,
Yeah, I am.
me, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes.
I'm gonna jump right into the checkup. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. It started to get a little bit more cold in the mornings. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
I need to like double dose on my vitamin C and vitamin D and all sorts of vitamin because I feel, a little, when you feel just a little snifflies, like a little snifflies.
You feel the change in the weather?
Just yeah, and that's what happens with me. God,
Mhm,
thank you, Lord. But I don't really get sick. I
mhm,
just when the weather changes, my body, I'll get the sniffles for a little bit, for a couple weeks maybe, and then that's that. But
mhm.
yeah. Other overall, it was an okay week. I mean, these people in my workplace, yeah, they're too much sometimes. But I got through it. So God willing, I got through it. But another week, another dollar. So how about you, girl? What's up with you? How was your week?
My week was good. I was telling you earlier I went did a softball, a charity event, and we played
Mm-hmm.
softball, and boy,
Yup.
my body was
Mm-hmm.
bruck up. Okay, we're doing the checkup.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I just starting to feel half. I'm feeling about 90% myself at this point.
You see?
The tournament
Mm-hmm.
was all day Wednesday and it's Saturday, and I just started to feel like myself today.
Jesus.
Yeah, if you're not somebody who's playing a sport on a regular basis and you just go and play softball all day or whatever any other sport, because
Mm-hmm.
softball out of all the sports is one of the softer ones if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
In
Mm-hmm.
terms of like you're not running up and down a basketball court all for the whole game,
Right,
and you're not,
right.
or like a soccer
Mm-hmm.
game. Like
True.
softball is
But
like
it's still a
it's
lot of physical like
it's still
activity
physical
though.
because you're swinging a bat, like, so my shoulders and my arm was, and you're throwing a ball, so all the things your body is doing aggressively.
Right?
My muscles before the end of the day were like, "Ooh, girl, what you doing?"
Right?
Because yeah, because I'm not completely inactive. I've been a lot more active in my weeks leading up to the tournament. But again, like playing a sport all day, like we played five
Mm,
games, that's gonna take a toll, no matter how active or regular fit. I'm talking about regular
right?
fit, not athlete fit. If you're an athlete, you're an athlete, and this should have been okay. But if you're like a regular person, you do your little piece of exercise to knock it, to check it off a list to make sure you're being
You
somewhat
know?
active. Then yeah, you're gonna be hurting. But anyway, it felt good. It's good to test your body sometimes to see where you're at.
Yep.
And it was for a good cause. We raised over $25,000 for a local women's
Ooh.
shelter.
Ooh wee.
And
Yes.
yeah, so that was a highlight of my week. And coming, and I, like a crazy person, actually got up the next day and went to work.
Crazy, huh?
Even when
Not
my
I
body was
and I.
like, when they say listen to your body, my body was like, "Are you sure about
Right?
this? Are you absolutely sure you want to
Right?
do this?"
Think about it. Think about it. Because I'm gonna do something to you. So please think about it.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, so that's good. That's
mhm.
good. The week was productive all
It was
around.
productive all around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll let's just jump into the headlines. So
Pot
I'm
boats.
gonna just start with something light, a little light work, and talk about the recent Ebony cover that Lil Kim, notorious rapper Lil Kim,
No, that
it.
wasn't Little Kim. I don't care what nobody tells me. That wasn't her. That was not her. They can say
So
it's her, but that was definitely a clone. I don't give a damn what nobody tells me. That wasn't Little Kim. But go on. No, it's
so
just
she,
hearing you say it, and I'm like, which part? Which, which part?
but
'Cause-
we know that Lil Kim has changed her appearance many a time since her career has slowed down. And I know she spoke about, she admitted that she does struggle with body dysmorphia, and what's shocking, after she revealed that, she was honest, and she was even able to admit that to herself and publicly, that she has continued to base, it looks like it's the problem is that really escalated. And so anyway, so she was on the Ebony cover, and the digital cover was released, and social media was going around on social media. And obviously, when people, the comments were like, wait a minute, who did, it's not even about how she looks, because we know she's drastically changed her appearance many a time,
Mm-hmm.
so there's nothing new. It's more like the touch-up job, the airbrushing, the Photoshop was really bad, because we know all these magazines, some of the top fashion magazines of Vogue and all the popular magazines, they all do it. They all do a little nip tuck in terms of the Photoshop, digital nip tucking,
Mm-hmm.
to everybody wants to look their best on a cover, so fine. And I've seen like images, like they show the popular one of the one with Kim Kardashian versus the not the real photo versus the actual cover, and you actually see how they kind of, they'll do a little slim here, a little this smooth out here, but it doesn't look like there's been major work for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
or at least it looks natural. This looks like I could have went on Photoshop and took the beauty tool and just do a brush over and say, here you go, ready for
Right?
print. That's the thing. The main thing is it doesn't look professional. It doesn't look like, Ebony is it's a long-standing black publication. They have had quality, like they're one with Jonathan Majors. Ooh, they do quality shoots. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll say right there. Ebony does quality shoots, and this looks like it's from like a high school newspaper magazine or something. I don't even know. Anyway, so when the comments were getting shisty, because they're basically saying, "Oh, Ebony, how could you let this?" They're blaming Ebony for having a bad quality cover, and the director, the creative director, the photography photo director, came on Instagram after Ebony was getting roasted, and he said, "Man, she wanted to be in control of retouching this, so this is what we got." Um, and obviously, Lil Kim got wind of it, and she came back and said, um, across a screenshot, said, "Who is this?" Oh, she posted on her stories. "Who is this? Because this is not the photo I approved or any other content that they put out. I always told Emily it looked like a painting, but they didn't want to listen. They said they loved it. It's the sabotage for me. The funny shit about this is that this is their retoucher. Nah, I call bullshit. So I'm gonna stop
Okay,
there."
please. Um, Little Kim. Okay, so we need to take it back. Okay, we need to take it back because we were talking about this briefly, and I said I'm gonna find this picture. And in 2016, she went on Instagram and showed a picture of her face. And who is that, Harper? Who is that? I don't know who the
Who is this
hell.
woman?
Who is this woman, Harper? I don't know. In 2016, she drastically changed her face to the
Hmm.
point where she did not look like a black woman.
Mm.
Now, here's my thing. I think that Little Kim, I've rocked with her from her very inception of her career, okay?
Mhm.
And she is a really talented woman who it's beyond dysmorphia at this point.
Oh
It's
yeah.
that she no longer wants to be a black woman. Period. She has said in countless interviews that she was cheated on by several of her spouses or whoever with white women. And I think that affected her extremely internally to the point where she has converted herself into a whole different race. Now, it's one thing to go get your nose straightened. It's one thing to wear blonde wigs. It's one thing to, get your body done or whatever. But you've changed your entire racial profile. Entire. So,
Hmm.
miss me with the bullshit. You did this from 2016. Everybody go back in time and you'll see the picture where everybody was up in arms. They were like, who the hell is this woman who's calling herself Little Kim? Now, if that's what you feel like you need to do to make yourself feel better, or
Mm.
I don't know, whatever you're trying to accomplish at this point, because, you know, you don't look like yourself, and I don't know who you are anymore. You're somebody calling yourself Little Kim. And so it's funny that you had creative leeway, okay? And this is what you came up with. This woman looked like she was Asian. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't even look white. She didn't look black, for damn sure. And now you want to place the blame back on Ebony? Miss me with the bullshit. We know that you had creative liberty to of your own photos. You were the last say of editing. So if we already know that you want to see yourself as something other than black, then I'm not surprised that this picture is on Ebony's cover. I'm not. And now you don't want the backlash, Little Kim. So
Mm.
you're trying to place the blame on the actual magazine. And they had to clap back and tell you, no, ma'am. No, no, no. You were the final editor on this. You told us what picture you wanted. And it makes sense that you decided to choose this picture with horrible touch ups. Horrible touch. It looked like a kindergarten could have done this. Like, it was horrible. Okay. And she is not in the right frame of mind
Oh, clearly not.
to she's not in the right frame of mind to be the person who makes the final call as to what photo is on the cover. And unfortunately, Little Kim, you're going to have to miss me with your bullshit. You've tried to change yourself from 2016 till now. So this is not anything new. What's sad is that you've allowed a man to come into your life and change your total perception of who you are. um you were a beautiful woman, as a nice chocolate black woman back in the day. You held your own amongst, the best of them. I don't understand what you were going through to go this far in changing who you are, but you are not recognizable to me, just like K Michelle. What the hell? Who the hell is this person calling herself K Michelle? I don't know who the hell this person is calling herself Little Kim. I saw it. It looked horrible. You need to go back to the drawing board. Um, Maybe get back some of your melanin. Get back some of
Girl,
your melanin, because if
I
you look
think
at
we
a
could.
side by side picture,
Mm.
this is an Oriental Chinese woman on the damn cover of this thing. I don't know who the hell this woman is. I don't know who the hell this woman is.
Yeah, you know what? While you were talking, I went onto her Instagram page to see like if there's any photos that don't look too touched up. But honestly, a lot of
Her
if they're
face
not.
is touched up, bro. Her face is touched up. It doesn't matter what she does. She
Yeah,
has
because
changed her race by lightening her skin,
yeah,
by getting rid of all of the phenotype on her
yes,
face.
true. She looks like she could
There's
be
nothing that
actually
she can
now.
do.
You know what she really looks like now? Outside of Asian, she looks like a Middle Eastern woman
See?
who, like a
What?
Persian woman. You know how Persian.
Yeah, because up where I live, there's lots of Persian people up here. Yeah. Yeah, very much so. So it's at the point where there's nothing that she can actually do. She has changed her face.
Mhm.
She has changed her face to the point where it's not those are not the feature of a black woman. I'm sorry, they're just not typically the features of a black woman. Purely black woman. They weren't her features either. I think that Little Kim was prettier back in the day than she is now. Right now, her face, she looks like a balloon that's
She looks
waiting
like
to pop.
she looks like an anime character. Like she
Yeah,
looks like a
all
cartoon.
sorts of things. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what she could. It doesn't matter the edits. It doesn't. You've changed your face. You've changed your color. She
And
was
that's
a darker skinned black woman. She was like a nice chocolatey brown black woman, and now, like you said, she looks Asian, Persian. That's not anywhere near black. So it doesn't matter what you want to do. And on top of that, they made you the editor of these photos. Are
Yeah,
you
big
kidding me,
mistake.
Ebony? Like, are you kidding me? You made the woman that has admitted she has dysmorphia the editor of these photos? Are you kidding me? This woman who has morphosed into somebody who is unrecognizable, you made her the editor? Really? Nah, fam. Nah. Ebony, I feel like yeah, you should have just done your damn thing and got it okayed by her, but not
Yeah,
her doing the actual final edits. That's all I'm saying with
yeah,
that.
because
But
now she's turning around and saying
trying to blame them.
blame them. So they should have held their ground, because it's almost like, was it worth it? Because
They should have done all edits and had her okay it.
there's rumors now, because I think based on the, I didn't want to spend this much time on this, but last thing, the guy, the photography editor, Keith Major, there is rumors going around, because a lot of people are like, even if it's true that he shouldn't, like, that, I guess it's a faux pas for him to, like, expose whatever their agreement was between them, but I mean, the brand was looking pretty bad, so I understand him wanting to save his
Yeah, but she
reputation.
came for them too. She came
Exactly.
for them too.
So
So
I
null and
think
void to that contract.
it's
Thank
true,
you.
but his job might be in
On the
jeopardy from what
line, maybe,
on the
but
line. Yeah,
the fact that he saved the actual
himself. It's
brand.
true. Your reputation is all you got sometimes. So
Right?
true.
And so I think they'll overlook it this time. He might get a nice little slap on the wrist, but at the end of the day, they'll overlook it because he came to the rescue of the brand.
Hmm.
So, and little Kim, God help you, girl, because if you have not one more damn nose job, girl,
Please stop.
please
But the thing
stop.
is, we know these type of people. They never stop,
Yeah, I
and
know.
to the point where they look grotesque. Like right now, I could say she's more on the, it's getting clownish, but it's not. But it's, if she stops, she's okay if she stops. But
Yeah,
it
she
could.
looks like a
There's a point.
caricature to me.
There's a
But
point
yeah.
where it goes to first unrecognizable, then to clownish, then it gets to grotesque. So I'm praying it doesn't get to grotesque.
Oh, I thought she'd been there. But
Oh,
yeah, I do. I think she's gotten there a long time ago, if you
yeah,
ask me. But like when I saw her perform, I think it was in 2021. There's a few things that she performed at, and I was like, nah, nah, fam, because she's
nah.
not even breathing the same.
Oh
She's
yeah,
not
no,
even
you can't, because
breathing
your
the
nose is
same.
most of her cartilage is
Right?
gone.
Yeah. So not one more no job. No, no more. No, no, no
Okay,
more.
quick. Okay, we're gonna
Moving
move
on
on
from little
here.
Kim
Yeah.
because
Ooh,
honestly, we can't help her, people. We can't help her,
you
fam.
can't. Okay, give me a
Um.
second. I need to pause because I. Okay, so moving on
Mm-hmm.
from body
Yep.
dysmorphia queen.
Yep.
This week there was some protests in the city, some local news here in our city in Toronto.
Yep.
The parents, there's been a lot of parents upset with the sex ed curriculum here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this curriculum, do you remember when it came in? I mean, I think it was a while ago, but I think they've been slowly been adding some extra sauce on
Yeah,
it.
they
Like,
have been.
I know
Yeah.
from when it was first introduced here in Ontario, our province, there was a lot, people were upset because of how, like, they kind of gave like an outline of kind of how it progresses for each grade, and some people felt like some of this was too early, or kids don't need to know about this at this age, and I know there was a lot of uproar, but I think now with I think particularly the transgender piece is what seems to be really the
Yeah.
topic, it seems, from what I've seen, that people are upset about. I think it's a whole curriculum really, but I feel like, I think in terms of like the activists that have been coming out to counter, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
protest, are the trans folks. And so this week, a lot of parents in came out in the Greater Toronto area and were protesting about and with the banner that said 1 million march for children. And it's the idea is to their message is an intent is to protect children from indoctrination and sexualization. Um, which I get it. And for me, I don't. I getting it gets all confusing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to let kids be kids. For me, I don't even
Thank
have a
you.
child, but for me, I know I understand. Like it just comes down to let a kid be a kid, and of course, parents should have the right to because I know when I went to Catholic school, and when
Mhm.
they started it's nowhere near the sex talk is definitely nowhere near what it is that is today.
Right?
But because we went to Catholic school, I think they would send letters, or the day before they would let you know that okay, we're going to talk about this, and then I
Right.
guess you could, whether you
They
tell
still do that,
the
by the
yes,
way.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And then most of the time parents don't. Like I mean, if there's some people who are super religious or like, of a different religion, then very rarely, I think I can remember only one time one kid was like excluded from that, and it was soft. So it didn't really
Mhm.
now looking back, there's no reason, right, for a
Right.
parent to do that because compared to what's I've seen, the little that I've heard about, yeah, it's different.
Mhm.
And as a parent, what do you feel about this? Because me, again, I if you're saying like kids be kids, I agree. I don't really remember the curriculum that much. There was
Mhm.
only a couple of things that I do recall when it first came out a few years back, where I was like, yeah, that's a little bit much. Because it's one
Right.
thing to it's because here's the thing. It's one thing to say you want to include LGBT, to just say LGBT exists, that it's a
Mhm.
thing. Okay, so even when I was a kid, yes, they would say, yeah, there's some people who are this that are gay. That's it. That's as far as it went. It
Right.
didn't get into what they actually do and
Right.
getting into
Because they
all the
took it from more of a medical standpoint
yes,
than
yeah.
a political standpoint.
Eggs. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And that's where the difference is that when we were growing up, first of all, I just want to put it out there. When we were in elementary school, they just taught you the basics of the human body.
So you
Okay?
knew how
You
everything
knew
worked.
you knew when your period was coming,
Mm-hmm.
what that meant. You knew how the female body and the male genitalia worked.
Mm-hmm.
You understood the reproductive system, and that was where it stood. It wasn't until you got to high school where
Yes.
they then built on that and started looking at it from a medical perspective of there is transphobia, or sorry, transgender people. There are
Mm-hmm.
people who have body dysmorphia. There are
Mm-hmm.
people who have, but they're looking at it from a medical standpoint.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so they're just telling you what it is and that it exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all. There's no debate. There's no discussion.
Mm-hmm.
This is what that is. Right. And so now the agenda is entirely different. Okay, and they want to at times push it down the throats of these young children who are still trying to understand the human body, period.
Mm-hmm.
You're confusing it. I feel like it's something that should be built upon. I feel like it's something that should be addressed when in high school. I feel like when we were in Catholic school, um, I feel like the Catholic Church still had a high influence as to the curriculum for the students when it came to these type of subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that the Catholic Church does not now, but I feel like they're up against a bigger battle than they were then. So now they have, the politics that are behind this, that are pushing the agenda on them to make a decision. Now, what I will say is in the Catholic district here in York region, um, which is just outside of Toronto, they are not focused yet on the politics part. They're still focused more on understanding the human body. And
Mm-hmm.
so they do make mention of it, but they don't emphasize it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're reading a textbook, there will be parts of a chapter that happen to address these things, but they're not focusing on those parts. They're focusing on the chapter in its entirety. So when which, my daughter was in grade 4 last year, and I did surely get a notice, a letter, and the teacher let me know in the letter that if you want to keep your child absent that day, you're more than welcome to.
Okay.
But this is what will be discussed in class.
Okay.
So when I had a chance to read that letter, I also, as a parent, had a chance to address it with my own child.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, this is where people might not like what I have to say about this, but you are in charge of of your child's education.
Yes. Mm.
Period. Point blank. It starts in the house. So even though this is going on in the school, right? I now, as a parent, have to take charge of certain topics and let my child know, excuse me, how I feel about that. And what biblically, as Christians, how we look at it. And so after it actually happened, I had a chance to talk to my daughter more and get her take on
Okay.
what was going on in the class.
Hmm.
And sorry.
I'm very curious about what she had to say.
What she told me was they just told us what it was.
Okay.
And I was okay with that. I was okay with that because I'm not oblivious to the world around us.
Hmm.
I'm not. And so I'm not going to raise my child in a bubble.
No, of course not.
That's stupid. Okay, you're setting them up for failure when you try to raise them in a bubble. Because when they go out into the world, their bubble will get popped. So now all sorts of information will seep in, right? And so I have a chance still to control of this conversation of the LGBT
Hmm.
community. In terms of transgender, I think it's going a little overboard in the
Mm.
school. I
Hmm.
think they're pushing the agenda too much. It hasn't really affected the Catholic school that much
Hmm. Okay.
because I find that they are still, the Catholic Church is still very much involved in the curriculum. And people who decide to send their children to a Catholic school obviously have some sort of religious, value behind them. And so they'll voice their opinion and have no problem with that. And so overall, I can see why people are protesting. My whole thing is let the children be children.
Yep.
Let them grow and learn. Let's build upon what they know. We first need to let them know what the hell their body is doing. What their body is doing. You know what I mean? Understanding the body, period, from a scientific perspective. And then we can elaborate once we know that these kids can have a real chance at looking at things from both perspectives and making their own judgment on how they feel, about those particular topics. But I saw the protests and I was like, well, you got to do the damn thing. You know what, Jeanette? Hold on, let me get some water one sec.
Hmm.
I'm dying over here, girl. I don't know what the hell is. Yeah, but anyway, I saw the protesting, and you know what? I think parents have a right
Of course.
to protest what their children are learning. But I feel like a good way to combat that is to start having the conversation yourself.
Yeah, and that's always been my thing. Like, my thing is like like you said, I think your kid there you can't be absolutely, I haven't spoke to the parents, but I'm just going by what I see in the news and the headlines. What's really the loudest, and the loudest
Yeah,
seems to be the gender identity and the LGBT. But the thing is, there's this curriculum, at the end of the day, your kids do need to know about this. And we know for a fact that with social media, kids are already doing or even seeing learning about these things sooner. So it's a way, as you said, they need to not be completely in a bubble, and that's how, they're not equipped to deal with the world, or they're not
yeah,
equipped to know what's going on when something, like these molesters and all these weird shit, like they need to
right?
have some type of awareness. And to your point, is whether you opt your child in or whether you want to count like and you still have a secondary conversation like what you said, which I think is
Yeah.
probably ideal. you you still regardless need to talk to your kid about that stuff, and regardless, because a lot of the the visible protesters are, and I'm willing to be challenged on this, but that's what I'm seeing in the news is are from the Muslim community, right? And
Yes,
obviously,
the majority of them are. Yes,
yeah, from
and
just
you'll
yeah,
have some Christians and Catholics
of course,
alongside them too. But you are correct. That's what I'm seeing. That's
yeah.
who really is pushing the agenda to protest.
Yeah,
And
and the thing is, if you have a religious, like I said, some religions, regardless of what it is, they want to have a little bit more control in how and what their children learn about anything to do with sexuality, right? Let's remove,
yeah, but
So, but you
uh
should still, but it seems like you don't want them to learn anything, and then that's
at
kind of where I'm
all.
like, you guys, come on now. Regardless, even if you are living in a strict Muslim household, your kid is going out in the world every day and they are going to a public school. And
Girl,
so
they don't even have to go to school. All they have to do is open their phone, their
the
tablet,
phone,
their
well, that's a
computer.
scary part now, right?
You
Because you're
look,
right, because
look,
even
you
if they
have
do. Mhm.
what's his name? The guy, and he was on the beer can. What's his name?
Oh yeah, the
Mulvaney.
trends, Mulvaney, or yes,
Mulvaney. He was
Mulvaney.
on. He's doing demonstrations on his thing on his podcast or whatever he has there about tampons.
Oh, that
Okay,
was ridiculous.
he was on a beer can. So, okay, your child doesn't have to necessarily agree with it. Your child doesn't have to know nothing about it. Your child could be oblivious to the topic.
Mm,
But as soon as they open up a laptop, a phone,
that's
a
true.
TV, anything electronic, it's in their face. So, and then questions start to arise in their brain, right?
Mm,
And so that's where I kind of encourage parents to have this conversation, a dialect between your child, because they could have a lot of questions that are unanswered, that they don't understand what's going on around them. And we cannot have our child in a bubble. As much
nope.
as you want to, as much as parents, we want to protect our children and all that, and I get it, I'm 100% there. However, I feel that the best way I can equip my child and protect her the best is through knowledge. Because if I don't teach her and I don't tell her, then she's going to take everybody else's word for it.
Hmm.
Now, even as a parent in general, when it comes to your child going to school, I'm a strong believer in working hand in hand with the school. Your child sends the school will send home homework with your child. If you don't take the time to sit down and do it with them, they won't succeed. So you are like the reinforcer of what they're learning at school. So if they're going to go in school and sit down in a class that's talking about the LGBT and trans people, I too need to have that conversation so that my child knows where I stand. And they can make an educated decision on what they think about it.
Yep,
So
that
that's
seems to
how
be
I,
the smart.
you know,
That seems like the rational approach, but we shall see where this goes.
yeah,
I'm definitely for kids learning about this stuff, but it's the detail and the political like as you said, the political angle which seems a little sus. But
yeah, it's pushing it down their throats.
we'll
Can they
keep an
understand in grade 4, they don't even know what the hell's happening to their bodies.
mm,
Their bodies are changing. Little girls are growing breasts. Boys are starting to, grade 4, 5, 6. They might have wet dreams. Like,
mm,
they need to understand what's happening with their body from a scientific and medical level first before we start building on that.
yes, to normalize it. It needs to be normalized for them because
Right?
otherwise, you don't want them. Anyway, so we'll see where that goes. So
Yep.
next, we're gonna jump into another international thing. Ooh, the Indian community is mad, and rightfully so. In our country, there was recently a Indian expatriate who moved to Canada into Vancouver. He was a Sikh leader, And
Mhm.
that is a sect of a community in the Indian nation, and his name
Mhm.
was Hardeep Singh Nijar. And
Mhm.
Hardeep Singh Nijar was gunned down um
Choosing.
in front of like a maybe temple or something, I believe. I can't remember where, actually, let me not say, but he was gunned down. And pretty much following that, our prime minister Justin Trudeau literally
Mhm.
came out to the press
Oh,
and said very bluntly, and I quote, he said, "Very bluntly, I will say that, and you will know me enough that I'm not in the habit of commenting on private diplomatic conversations." Um, oh no, this is not Trudeau. This is, who's saying this? Oh, Cohen, and Cohen is a diplomat. He's a diplomat for Canada. He's a U.S. ambassador to Canada. Okay, so that means what they're saying is not only did Trudeau say this, or not only did Canadian intelligence know this, but a U.S. intelligence is involved in this as well. And I'm assuming that was the case. I can't imagine Trudeau would have the balls to go out and do and denounce a nation without
no.
corroboration from the FBI, CIA. You know what I mean? Like, there needed to
Right?
be something to back them up.
Yep.
Canada's not in the habit of doing that, right?
No.
And so there is saying there was a shared intelligence among the Five Eyes partners that informed Prime Minister Justin Trudeau before making that public allegation, between a potential link between the government of Canada and the murder of Hardeep Singh. And so, yeah, so this is a U.S. Ambassador to Canada, and he said very bluntly, "I will say that I'm not in the habit of commenting on private diplomatic conversations, but I will say this was a matter of shared intelligence. There was a lot of communication between Canada and the United States about this, and I think that as far as then that's as far as I'm comfortable as going." And so they're trying to get some um, intel as to why Judo said this. Anyway, we know what happened. That's in the news. So let's talk about
Yep.
the fallout.
Yep.
So the fallout now, since
Ever since then.
we've mentioned, and pretty much Trudeau, and I guess you could say the Canadian government, accused the Indian government of being involved in this person's murder. India has now since canceled all visas for Canadian residents, and obviously that affects the Indian community here. Anybody who's a Canadian
Yep.
citizen or like, from with roots in India, and they have family or business or whatever, and they want to go back, those folks cannot go back to the country because this was a swift retaliation from India. And I guess the question is, I was talking to one of my Indian coworkers, and I was like, okay, I get why Trudeau would do that. Like, for me, it's everything seemed rational, and because obviously the Indian government is angry because that's a very public display of like slapping somebody on the wrist by what Trudeau did.
Right?
They retaliated. So everything, all these chain of events, I'm like, okay. But then I spoke with an Indian friend of mine, and she said that it's not the fact that even if they did have something to do with it, which I'm assuming there's proof, because honestly, this is very strange. It's very
Right?
unusual for the Canadian Prime Minister to really put themselves in international hot water like that, especially with a country like India, where
Right?
there's a strong business relationship, and there's a lot of immigrants that come from there to here and back and forth.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? And there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of wealth that those folks bring to this country as well.
That's
And
right.
so she said, "Okay, but what about they never do that with they've never done that with China?" And I was like, "Ooh,
Thank
points
you.
points were made. I never thought of it that way." Which
Shots are fired.
points were
Yeah.
made. Only
Yep.
and the reason why I caught on right away, because I'm like, there was actually a similar incident with a Chinese migrant from China who was like in the political realm and speaking against the Chinese government, and where they were getting threats from random people, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody really said anything. Like, there were people saying it, but Trudeau never said anything.
Right.
So I was like, when she made that point, I was like, oh, that's true, but we all know why nobody wants to fuck with China at this point. But still, I think if you don't
because
do it,
because China and Russia are body and bench.
hmm
So right now we don't want to rock the boat. But
yeah.
in all honesty, though, I think that Trudeau has already rocked the boat.
He rocked it big time.
And yeah, the government over there in India is not having it.
Nope.
Um, and here's my thing with Trudeau, though, is that there must have been a reason why he felt he needed to
Oh,
get
of course.
involved,
There was proof. Without a
right?
doubt, I don't doubt that they had the proof to do it, but that is the truth. I don't actually doubt that's the truth, but I think it's
But
more the international relations.
yeah, but your friend
Mhm,
is correct
mhm.
because China has been doing nonsense for a long time, and Trudeau has kind of turned his back
Yeah. Yep.
and turned a blind eye. So for you to do this, listen, Trudeau, we're not trying to have no beef with nobody. You
Mm,
understand? We're really just trying to get along in our own damn country, okay? We've let a lot of immigrants come from India to this country,
mm,
okay? And now India's like, okay, well keep them,
mm.
okay? And Trudeau, we're really not in a great financial position right now for us to have any international beef at this point. We're just not. Financially, we're still
No.
trying to, gather ourselves. And so having these connections with places that do business with us, like big business with us, I don't know if that was the best move. I think he could have done it a little bit more subtly. I don't. You know what? I'm talking from a position of not being in government, so maybe it's easy
Exactly.
for me
There's
to
no
say
way.
that.
It's hard. I think because it sends a strong message.
But I
When
think the message was too strong.
it was
That's
very strong
that
for
was
him to say it because it's even
that's what
better to
I'm
get.
saying is that he
Yeah.
could have done that. He wasn't diplomatic enough.
I think he should not have been the one to say it. That's what I
No.
mean. We
Yeah.
have agencies where they say we are investigating, similar to like when there's like questionable stuff that happens with Chinese diplomats or people who come from Hong Kong and China and are speaking against the government from here. They'll have government intelligence and all that, but it won't be him. Like he won't, or even if
Exactly.
he does say anything, he'll skirt around it. He's not going to say anything direct. So it's interesting. But anyway, we'll see where the story
Yep.
goes.
We'll
It's to be
see.
continued. I think
Yep.
there's a large community here. There'll be a lot of noise about this.
Oh, there
Um,
already is. There's rumblings all over the damn city. It's
um,
ridiculous.
but I will
Um,
say, on one hand, I think it's crazy because, like you said, it puts us in trouble, kind of in international international relations with India. But on the other hand, it's almost commendable because it's like, yeah, you don't want these countries, these governments, to feel like they could just come and these people come for freedom and to get away from oppressive governments, right? So now for organizations or whatever from to leave over there to come here to kill somebody who's been here, working here, and became a Canadian citizen, we gotta nip that in the bud. I don't think this was the right way to go about it, but
that's my point. He didn't go about
yes,
it the right way. He
yeah.
wasn't diplomatic enough for me. So we'll watch and see what happens here, but there will be some more protesting going on
Oh yeah, yeah.
shortly.
Oh no, I
So,
see that
you
happening
know,
for sure. All right,
definitely.
so we'll move on to this crazy story going on in the
Mhm.
states that I saw. So, uh, earlier in the week, they were saying that this former NFL player by the name of Sergio Brown, um, his body, the body of his mother, was found near their home in Chicago, and they were saying they were worried for him at first, because he was missing, and I think they live like people are thinking, oh, maybe they came for him and they killed his mother. So of course, there were some people thinking right away that, oh, is he involved? But most people were like, oh, maybe it was a hit, and mom's got hit in the crosswords, right?
Right.
Um, little, and so I was like, oh, this seems sad, this seems weird, like, I was like, what is this guy involved with? Because he's an ex NFL player, he's not an NFL player anymore. So
Right.
when who knows what they get into once they finish with the football life.
Yeah, because especially when the money not, the money start dry up.
Exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they found his body's mother and he was missing, so everybody's like, oh, was worried whether he got like kidnapped or killed too, and he was just somewhere else. 2 days later, my guy was there was a video of him circulating on the internet saying fake news. I thought my mother was in Mexico, blah blah blah. The thing I want to say with this video is he's clearly uh
Unstable.
mentally unstable. CTE. We know with NFL players, a lot of them being knocked around, their brains being knocked around in those helmets. A lot of them end up suffering from CTE, and CTE is something that we've seen it manifest in really aggressive behavior, with a lot of them
Yeah.
having really dramatic domestic violence um charges, and obviously mental illness is a part of that, right? And we saw with Antonio Brown how that manifests with him.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so Sergio, he's 35. He was still missing. He's in Mexico sipping mai tais, and his mother was just murdered, and he's making these weird videos. Sergio,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need Sergio. You're like, you want to? Are you gonna say it? Are you gonna say what?
No,
Are you
no,
gonna
I
say
want
what I?
no. You say it, girl. You say
No,
it.
I
You right
wasn't gonna say.
on.
Are you gonna? What were
You
you gonna say?
you right on cue. No, go ahead. You say the damn thing because you right on cue.
No,
I'm gonna need.
mhm.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Ah,
I'm
Sergio.
not saying it. What were you gonna say, Kim?
No, no, go ahead. No, I'm listening. Uh huh. Just sip some water right here. Uh huh.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say what you think I'm gonna say. I'm just saying he needs to come back and attend to the fact that his mother was murdered and see what's going on. Whether you
I'm
know,
gonna need. I'm gonna need mental evaluation on Sergio. Okay, that's what I'm gonna need because
okay.
this don't look right. I'm
Hmm.
sorry. I saw the videos, and he's a
Hmm.
troubled soul.
Oh, you
He's a
saw it.
very troubled soul.
Yeah, he's off.
Um, off his rocker. Cause your mama just died. Like I don't understand it. Um, his reaction
Yeah, it's not normal.
is far from normal. It's almost psychotic, if you ask me, because most people, even ones that don't have a very good relationship with their mother,
You're gonna feel
you
away.
you're gonna feel away. And
Hmm.
Sergio, I'm gonna need you to be evaluated. I'm gonna need it because this just didn't hit right.
What's str- what's strange is prior to them
It didn't hit
finding
right. It didn't hit right at all.
at
Man,
all. If you see
crazy
those,
in here.
oh, well,
Man,
okay.
mad.
I want to say this without laughing. I want to say this without laughing. So prior to them finding the mom murdered by the creek there, by their close to her home, um, the family put out a missing report for both of them.
Wow.
And then now when the police go to the house, because they said she's been missing for 72 hours, they went to the house and searched around the house, and eventually that's how they found her. But they were gone they were missing, both of them, those two of them at the same time, for over 72 hours. So this is a strange story. We're
Yet
going to
he
find
made it
out.
out alive.
He made it out alive. So I'm not saying it.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Something to write. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
we
keep
need
out on
a
the story.
psych
I will have a.
evaluation
I'm gonna keep an eye
ASAP.
on this story and like update next week and see if he comes back to the states or what. But anyway, quick RP. There's two light things. We want to move into our first segment.
Yeah,
So two light things. First of all, y'all really believe, if you don't know Nigerian people, if you really thought Tems was pregnant for
please.
Future,
She has more respect for herself than that. Sorry.
if you really thought that Tems, a Nigerian
Nah.
woman,
Nah, fam. Mm-mm.
was not only pregnant before marriage, but pregnant by future.
Of all people, you mad?
Yeah.
Nah, so.
I mean, maybe I might be kicking myself, but I found it hard to believe. I've seen photos, the photos where they thought I was like, that this looks like a little bit of, she's not a skinny girl.
It looked
So
like she ate too much.
that's you're right. Look a little extra bloat. That's about it, right? But I mean, I'm gonna culturally, it just doesn't connect.
Nah, fam.
So
Mm-mm.
we'll see. One, before I move on to our RIP, one person I do know who's pregnant, feel confidently, is Halle Bailey.
Yeah, and
She
I
is
don't know why she doesn't just admit it.
Halle Berry is definitely, sorry, Bailey is
hmm
definitely pregnant
She's
for DDG.
pregos.
She's
Definitely.
pregos. I mean, that's hey,
I
it
could
is what
never
it is.
understand why a woman would hide it. Like I could never okay, I could understand maybe you're a young girl, you're a little kid or you're 16, you
You're
don't want your parents to
confused.
find
Yeah,
out, you're
yeah.
confused. I could understand you hiding it, right? But this is a grown ass woman who just got paid a quadrillion dollars for doing The Little Mermaid. She's
Hmm.
well off. She does not need for anything. So and she's grown. So
Hmm.
I'm really at a loss. I think it's because of who the father is,
Yeah.
and that
Oh
he's a
yeah.
joker,
A
and
lot of
that
people don't
I
approve
don't
of that.
like him. I don't
No, I
like
don't.
him for her. I
I'm
don't
not a
think they're
fan
well
either.
yoked at all. I think he is too jealous of her.
Hmm.
And anytime I see a man that could be that jealous of his
Of you,
woman,
oh, he's gonna be a nightmare.
yeah, big turn off.
Mm.
So for me, I don't think she's such a sensitive soul. Not sensitive soul, a very sweet soul. You can tell she just has this innocence about her.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
maybe that's what she's trying to hold on to. And she's not trying to screw up her bag with Disney, because this is
Well.
not going to go over well with Disney. However, you's grown, girl. You got
Yeah.
money in the bank. Like, stop this. I don't know why everybody's in a tizzy. I think it's because she is trying to hide it. That's why people are
Yeah. It's
acting
gonna
the way
it's
they're
gonna come
acting.
out soon, and
Yeah, in nine
finally.
months. Yeah, 9 months.
Whew. Finally, some sad news. We're gonna end on sad news. I don't know why I'm
Yeah.
ending on this, but the group 702, one of the members, Irish Grinstead, has passed away. She passed
Mm-hmm.
away this week. And
Beautiful soul.
very
Beautiful
beautiful.
soul.
When we were coming up,
Yeah.
uh in elementary, high school times, they
Mm-hmm.
they were part of Missy's crew at first.
Yeah.
They had
702
Stilo.
was the shit. Mm-hmm.
They had, even before they did that big hit with the Neptunes, and
Yep. Mm-hmm.
their Stilo. I can't remember their song right now, but
702
whew,
was just a really good group all around.
and they were really pretty. Like that was they were really
Really pretty. I
they
know.
were
I know.
and feminine, because there was a time when we still had the mix of um they still had the hip hop flavor of like TLC and like wearing baggy clothes and stuff, and then moved
And
they just
Aaliyah.
and
Yeah.
Aaliyah, and they were just coming around a little bit after that, so they were like they had the attitude, they had the looks, and they
Mm-hmm.
were like very like cute and like girly. And
Yeah.
so I feel like that was their like thing as a group. So get it together. So that was it. It was like
Yes. Get it
get it
together.
together. Where my
That's one of my
girls at, and
favorites.
Stilo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
woo, classic. So
Yeah.
anyway, I was curious. I was like, oh, I didn't know what was going on with her or whatever, right? But they did say, I did see an old post, that they said they paused touring because they put her in prayer because she was very ill. So sometime late last year, um, I don't know what it is, but the only thing I think it could be is cancer. But without saying, she was very ill, and it looks like whatever illness was affecting her, it took her life.
Yep.
I'm just glad it wasn't like, unaliving oneself,
Right?
because that's been going around. And they have a really sad story, because Irish had a twin sister. When they
Yeah.
first had their group, before they had the dark skinned girl, it was the Irish's twin sister that was in the group.
Yep.
I think her name was Orish Grinstead. And so from then, from what we know about twins, when you lose your twin, it's like you lose your left hand, your right
Yeah,
hand.
part of yourself.
And
Yes.
so I wondered, that's why I was like, oh, did she? But no, she died from an illness. Anyway, RIP to Irish
Yes.
Grinstead, and
Beautiful
prayers up,
soul.
prayers up to their sister Lamisha Grinstead and the other group member. Um, I don't remember what the other group members. Camila Williams, to them, and hopefully, they can heal from this. It's going to be a while, but hopefully they can
Yes.
heal.
Yes.
So we will move on from that into our first and only segment, I believe, today.
Yes, that is correct. Outside of the
Um.
workout,
Oh, sorry.
yes.
So we do have a workout. So yeah. So we're getting to Wagwan for real, and
Wagwan for real. Yeah.
in this
Mm-hmm.
segment, we look at stories that just don't add up. They don't make much
Mm-hmm.
sense. We hear them, we see them, and we have to ask the hard question: what a guan for real?
For real.
And we've been on a roll with the wagwan for real, but we're gonna
Yep.
keep it rolling. And before we get
Yes.
into that topic, I just want to
Lots
say
don't make sense. Lots don't make sense in
a
this
lot
world.
don't
So,
make sense in this
you
world.
know.
But I just want to make a quick joke before we get into our actual topic. So I've been watching Top Boy on Netflix. The most recent season. I don't know if it's the last
Mm-hmm.
one, and it's based in the UK. And a lot of UK lingo. I know some of our listeners are from there. Is similar to Toronto because they have that Caribbean flavor, that Jamaican
That's
flavor, to be
right.
honest.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way they say wagwan is so funny. They're like wagwan,
I
wagwan.
know.
It's like what wagwan? I'm like what?
You can see the influence, the British influence, because there's lots of West Indian people, lots of Jamaican people who go and live in
Yes,
England, and
colony.
well, there you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jamaica was one of the first to seek independence, but we're not going to go there
Mm.
today. But the point is that the influence is there, and the British tongue seeps in. It
Okay.
seeps in. I
It's
look away,
okay.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course.
it seeps in.
So,
Yeah.
so this week for Wagwan for Real, we were going to talk about the series of separations and divorces that have come down this week, and
Just don't understand. I
we'll
don't
start
get
with
it.
the biggest one that all the news outlets were talking about, and that is from Jeannie Mai and Jeezy Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the one that has everybody side eyeing the situation or the fact that everybody's side eyeing this situation is that Jeezy was the one to
Right.
file for divorce first. And in his proceedings, and this is how people are trying to kind of find out what's really
Right.
going on. And
Uh-huh.
he, some of the terminology he said is that not being on the same page with family values, the marriage is irretrievably broken, and with there's no hope for reconciliations. Very strong,
Very, very
strong
strong.
phrases leading to people really going in a frenzy to speculate what happened. And so they're calling it a quits after just 2 years of marriage, and their daughter uh, is just their daughter
I
is
think
about a
she's
year and a
about 10
half.
months.
Yeah, no,
10 months,
she was
11
born
months.
no, she was born January 2022, so she's over a year.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Okay. That's good.
yeah, they have a child together, and obviously he's going to
And
try
she's
and
so
get joint.
cute. She's such a
Yeah,
cute
it's
little
very
girl,
adorable
too.
little girl.
Um,
And yeah, so there's a lot of speculation. So people get divorced. So, and I'm not gonna
they
get
do.
too wrapped up on what I think happened. Well, and you have your theory and everything. I'm more gonna be focused on what people are projecting on what happened, because we don't know what happened. But
Right.
it's interesting what people in our community um are projecting onto this couple.
Right.
So obviously, a lot first at first, a divorce is sad. Especially, it's always sad when a
Yeah.
couple who decided to take the step to have a life together in the thinking that it should be for a lifetime. So that's always something to me that is sad, unless we know for a fact that, if we publicly know there's like crazy toxicity going on, right?
Mhm.
And then it's even worse when there's a child or children involved. And that's just my feeling. Those are my values. I think it's a sad thing.
Yes.
And so it was weird how some black women were like, kind of, dancing on the grave type of situation, about Jeezy divorcing Jeannie Mai because of, obviously, she did say a racist comment that is now famous, where she said, marries white meat. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, and dark meat is for the side. Basically meaning,
No, she said she keeps dark meat on the side.
she keeps it on the side. And so
So
that is very
that keeps
offensive
part, that
to.
keeps part is important. It's
Hmm.
important because it gives you an idea that she will always have a black man around, but that he will always be on the side.
Hmm.
So he will never be in the front. And so I was very surprised that they even got married. But go on, what were you saying?
And she said this publicly on TV. So a lot of black women have been harboring, resentment, and fair enough, I guess. Fair enough. She did say something racist. And so it's been weird where they're kind of like jumping on the grave, like, oh, like laughing at this scenario without
Right,
knowing exactly what happened.
right.
So that's something that I'm seeing that is kind of distasteful. And then there's also, for the fact that, she had the racist comment. And then there's also the people who are like, you know yeah, well, as a black man, she expected him to treat her better than any of the black women that he had, and she still ended up, um, you know, a
Mm-hmm.
a single mother at the end of the day, like, right, like all his
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
So, um,
Well, for me,
mhm,
with Jeannie Mai, first of all, she was on the reel, okay, and I used to watch the reel,
mhm,
and then I fell off after a while, for a variety of reasons. But Jeannie Mai, this is not that comment that is going around. Is not the first time she's made uh, a racially driven comment before. She's done it before, except she was able to. This was more in your face. Before it was more subtle, and you kind of had to pay attention to the conversation to get it. But this is not her first. Second, everybody keeps saying, "Oh, well, she's from the Bay. She's from the Bay." So what if she's in close proximity to black people? She ain't black.
mhm,
Period. Let's not mince words here. She is not black. She'll never be black. She is who she is. Yes, she gets down with the black culture. Yes, she can sleep with black men. Yes, she'll chat it up with the best of the black women out
mhm,
there, but she's not black. And there's a part of her culture that that ignorance stays prevalent. That ignorance that she has, the way that she even had the audacity to say something like that about
mhm,
a black man, shows her ignorance. Okay, so regardless if she was raised in the Bay, where she's around a whole lot of black people and Hispanics, doesn't mean anything. Her views on those same people are obviously different than what we think.
yeah,
So she, just because she knows, too short, and she can rap something, doesn't mean nothing to me. Okay, she showed us her true perspective and her true um, thoughts on black people and black men specifically. Now, when they got together, at first I was like, huh, okay. She just got divorced. It wasn't that long after she got divorced from her white husband. She said that she didn't want to have children, okay, when she was with the white husband, because she didn't feel safe and all of these things. Then she got married to Jeezy, and shortly after we find out she's pregnant. I felt like their relationship was too much of a whirlwind. I felt like their relationship, it shouldn't have gone this direction so quickly. I think
Yeah,
they should have
that's
taken more time to get to know each other.
yeah, clearly,
I
yeah.
think um that black peen got her mesmerized. Okay. And she done lost her damn mind because Tutu's the same woman who said she doesn't want to have children is popping out a child.
Mm,
So, um, that black peen, man, I'm telling you, it'll do you some things, boy. It'll do you some things, and it doesn't matter what race you are. So, unfortunately, in this situation, this little girl is the one that's you know, is going to be affected by this the
mhm.
most. And I agree with you that, the dynamics of their family is going to change drastically, and that little girl is going to feel it. And unfortunately, it's publicized, so it's everywhere. So one day this little girl is going to grow up and she's going to see all of this play out. And that I feel horrible for, because
Yeah.
the little girl didn't ask to come here. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Now, another dynamic to this that I've heard in the black community is, Jeannie Mai, did you think that you wasn't gonna get cheated on? Oh no, girl. These black men will do it to whoever. So you didn't want to be a single mom? Huh. Lo and behold, you's a single mom with a black daughter.
mm,
Yes, I understand the child is mixed. I get that. But when that little girl grows up, she's going to be seen as black. Okay? So miss me with that. And Jeezy hasn't shown us in his past history of his other children and other baby mothers that he's been a responsible father
mm.
that way. So I understand he's out here making his money. We don't really know how well he's taking care of those children. Obviously, well enough, because we don't hear much about
Yeah, I
him
think he's
as a
doing
father. But
his job.
this is not his first rodeo. This is not his first child, and this is not his first baby mother. So, Jeannie, I don't think you knew what you were really getting into. But
Mm.
one dynamic that I wanted to look at with this is that, how come everybody's getting divorced and separated? What the hell is happening here? What is going on? What's in the air? Because I don't want to sniff it. This is too
I
much.
know, right?
This is too much. Everywhere I turn is like, either it's like, the S word, suicide, is like the biggest thing, or it's divorce. Like, it's just all this sorrow and tragedy. Like, it's a lot,
gotta
but I've
stay gotta stay prayed up.
gotta stay prayed up, right? But I've noticed, and not just with Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, but also Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumpert. Like, they're
Mm.
also
Yep.
on the splits. Then, like I was telling you before, we're hearing rumors about Papoose and Remy Ma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all the black examples of young black love are divorcing left, right, and damn center. And I'm asking, why, Guan, for real? What is in the damn air? What the hell is happening here? Because every other week I'm hearing somebody divorcing or separating. It's kind of disheartening, because those were young black love, like young versions of black love that a lot of people could look up to. Um, I don't know if it's couple goals, but it's something to look up to, and what's going on? For real, like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's true. Well, you know what? Some people are better at keeping things under wraps. So it's like a lot of times we don't really hear. Usually, when people divorce or separate, like we were talking about with Jeannie Mai's first husband, everything is calm and
Mm-hmm.
amicable until the shit gets real. And so we're
Right?
not gonna get the real story until if it gets dirty in court, right? Or a year later when everybody feels free enough to kind of tiptoe down that path to give a little bit of insight. But before the actual divorce is official, a lot of people stay quiet. And we know because you know what? It's legal, you know the law. and things
Yep.
you could bite yourself in the foot sometimes,
Yep. Yep.
getting too open before the proceedings are final. So I don't know what's in the air, but yeah, I'm so sad about Tiana Taylor and Amon. They were so cute. It's like the epitome of marrying your best friend when you see them, and so sad. And with them, it's just crazy how it came out with them. I think
Right?
before we move on, I was gonna say let Tiana be a example. Everybody, whether, and I'm not just talking about celebrities. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about people who share a lot in on social in general, can keep it classy. When you hear people speculating, making comment, calling you, asking you
Right?
questions because they see your husband out, or your supposed husband out on a date with his new girlfriend,
Ooh,
um
hey.
you come back and you just set the story straight and you keep
One
it
time.
moving.
Just keep it going.
So pretty much it was, people were trying to create a whole scandal for them because there is a girl on Instagram who posted photos of, Amon at her house. And people were like, "What? This is so bold!" And like,
Right?
I thought it was crazy when I saw those photos. I was like, he couldn't be so stupid to let this girl be taking pictures of him while they're together. Like, obviously, like he knew she had the phone and that pieces of his body were being shown, so it's him. So now Tiana posted up a couple days after those pictures started going around, and she said, not too much on my bestie. In all fairness, Iman and I are separated. Oh, and we have been for a while. To be 1,000% clear, infidelity is not one of the reasons for our departure. We are still the
Lies.
oh
Mm-hmm.
god, we are still the best of friends, great business partners, and are one hell of a team when it comes to co-parenting our two beautiful children. Most importantly, we are family, and in 10 years together, 7 years married, we ain't ever played about that. We just keep y'all asses out the group chat, which is a reason we've been able to successfully and peacefully separate without all the outside noise.
Mm-hmm.
Um so
Yeah,
I
well
think
put, Tiana. Well
mhm,
put.
mhm.
But miss me with the bullshit. You
Oh
know this
lord.
motherfucker was cheating on you. He's been cheating on you since the beginning of the relationship. And it got to the point where you felt like you had to have threesomes, which she went on a whole hobo tour in 2021 about how many threesomes that they have when they go on their trips and they go here and there and they get, yeah. So
Mhm,
miss me with it. She was trying to seem
mhm.
like she was down for her husband and making, pleasing him, and got
Yeah.
herself involved in three ways and all sorts of menage a trois and all sorts of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, it backfired. It backfired. And so now we're at a point where you guys are parting. But what I will say is that, Tiana, you dealt with the damn thing the way that it should be dealt with. You just cease and settle everybody one time. I said what I said. She made it quite clear where she stood. She wasn't mincing words. She said what she said. Now, you were lying in a part of that, but you said what you said. And I can at least appreciate that because you're not leaving it to speculation. You're cutting it right in half right now, and I can appreciate that.
What
I'm
if you
so sad to see them
what
go
okay, what
down
if
in flames.
it's not going down in flames?
The
It's ember
relationship is they're no
it
longer married. They're
I
not going
wouldn't
to
say
be married
flames.
much
I would
longer.
say it's like embering out. Like, when the fire is just slowly going out, and it's just embers, and the coals are just slowly light. You know, the embers are slowly dying, and it's kind of like, what are you calling it? Fizzling out. But yeah, we don't know what happened. So, because I feel like there's reasons why she would want it to seem amicable, obviously, especially where they have kids, and the social thing. But there's also, like, maybe she just is like, you know I can't keep up with this guy based on what you're telling me anymore. She wants to be free to,
Of not having threesomes with women.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
maybe she doesn't want him in the picture anymore. Maybe
Yeah.
she wants to explore her sexuality in a different way. Listen, Tiana has been in the spotlight for a very long time, and she knows how to address the public,
Mm.
and she did a great job. However, I
Yeah.
can't believe you 100%. I can't.
Mm.
I can't. Because she went from one character, like the type of character that I thought that she had. I was very surprised to hear that she was having threesomes with her husband. I
Well,
was very surprised to hear that because
I'm not
up until
surprised.
her marrying him,
Mm,
she was
mhm.
a virgin.
Was she?
Up until, yeah, this one. If
I
you
didn't
go
know that.
back, yeah, if you go way back, okay, she was actually a virgin up until she married him.
Whoa.
So, right? And now all of a sudden you marry him, we're doing threesomes? Nah, fam.
Yeah, but that's the
Something
thing.
didn't sit right with
The
me.
type of man you marry, right? So this is a guy who's a big
Well,
NBA
but
star.
well, that's why you could say that maybe
Mhm.
he was cheating, and in order for her to stop the contention in their relationship
She
and it
decided.
not be cheating, that
Mm.
she get involved in it, right? So anyway, but
Yeah, we're
either
making up
way,
story. Yeah, we're making storylines now. But either way,
well, it's
um,
not 100% storylines. These are things, these are factual things that have happened in the course of the relationship. And at one point, she was going on a whole hobo tour. Anybody that would listen on all sorts of radio stations saying how she does threesomes with her husband. So I'm sorry, but most women don't want to share.
mm,
Most
mm,
women, I would say 8 out of 10 women don't want to share their man. Okay.
mm,
So the fact that you're willing to share your man, I have to wonder why, right?
mm,
And so is it easier to keep him by getting involved, right? And therefore it's not cheating?
mm,
Therefore you don't feel salty because he's going behind your back? Like, cheating to me is not necessarily the act of sex. It's the deception that follows it, right? So the lying and the not telling me where you're going and coming home whatever time and all these things that go along with cheating. It's not the actual physical action of sex, because sometimes relationships can still manage to get through those moments of infidelity, right? But it's always the scenario that goes around it. Did you keep up a long term, like a long relationship with this woman, for weeks and months and years? Or did you get drunk with your buddies one day and fuck around and fell in a pum pum? Like, you know what I mean? So some relationships can survive. But anyway, long story short, they're separated now. So
mm-hmm.
it really doesn't matter. And I hope that they can stay cordial. I hope that they can raise these children. It seems like they have a good relationship enough to do that. And I hope that Tiana finds love again,
Oh,
in
she
the
will.
future. She's a beautiful girl. She's
Yeah.
very talented, very smart. So, very business savvy. So, I see that happening. With Jeannie Mai, that was too fast.
Yeah, I think you. I think yeah, it was a questionable. It was one of those things. Like even though I'm trying to be great, I'm really giving her grace for the most part.
A
But I
whole lot
agree.
of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I agree that it was the way everything moved was sus. Like the way how everything kind
Yeah,
of
it
came
did.
together.
It
So
was.
I
And
can agree on that.
unfortunately, I think Jeezy was her rebound.
Mm?
I think he was her rebound. This woman was married to that white man for 10 years of her life. 10 years. And then within 2 years of being divorced, she was on to the next, in a relationship, getting married, having children, getting married, or having her wedding. It was like, whoa, like, girl, give yourself a chance to heal and have a
Mm.
breath.
I know, especially after divorcing for after 10 years.
10
Yeah, you.
years, come on,
Yeah.
fam. And I know at the end of that marriage, it didn't go well. It didn't end well. There was a lot of him and his new girl who was having a child poking at Jeannie Mai, saying that she's this, that, and the third. So there was a lot of, contention in the air
Mm.
still. And here she is right back into another relationship with Jeezy. And I just thought that that was too quick. And I thought he's a rebound guy. And I'll be honest with you, and I don't like to speculate this usually, but I didn't think it was going to last. I really didn't, because they good together, but they're very different.
Mm.
They are. So, anyways, we're gonna move on into the workout, and because we have to talk about this topic right here,
Ooh,
because
yeah.
I don't know what Tyler Perry is thinking that he's doing up in here. Okay, but yeah. So earlier this week, Tyler Perry. Oh, so we're into the workout. And this is where we work out our hearts and exercise our mental fitness, doing deep dive discussions on topics that affect our community, affect us. And so one of these topics is Tyler Perry and his comments to Black women. And I need Tyler Perry to take several seats, several, a whole row, if you ask me. But anyhow, he made comments earlier this week in an his comments, and I'm paraphrasing, but
Mm.
that because Black women are higher earners, have more education, that we should settle, and that we should settle for men that might not necessarily make as much, that can maybe just pay a light bill or take you out to dinner from time to time, and that we should be content with that man, and that this is the reality of the situation, that there are more Black men out here who are making less than, who are not able to be, six figure earners,
Mm.
what they call high value men. And so as a Black woman, we should be more accepting of those men. Well, here's what I have to say to Tyler Perry. How the hell are you going to build your career on acting like a Black woman to then tell Black women that we should settle for beneath?
Mm.
How does that work?
Well,
You're a billionaire.
mm. Right? First and foremost.
No, but I want to point this out. You're a billionaire that became a billionaire off of the backs of a Black woman.
Ooh.
Your whole career was started off of this character of Medea.
Mm.
And the character of Medea was a stripper, was a prostitute, was a mother, was a homeowner, was all sorts of things. Yet now you want to tell Black women that we should settle for a man that can pay a light bill. Might not necessarily pay the mortgage, but he'll take you out from time to time. Billionaire, I need you to take several seats. I don't think you're the one to be giving Black women advice.
No, absolutely not. Because, his storylines are all based on struggle love, so he would say that.
Now let's look at this topic that he's presented to the world. I want to ask one question: why is it that Black women have to make the exception?
Why? Somebody still
Because
can't
no
tell me.
other race is asked to do that.
That's the sad part.
As a matter of fact, most races groom their daughters to want the highest paying, or high or best job, best earner, best, all of these things. Yet as a Black woman, I should be okay with the man that drives the bus. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic how just a few months ago we were having this same
Oh,
conversation
yeah. Ooh.
about a Black woman who was saying, well, if he owns the bus, right? And now we have a Black man who is telling us Black women, along with that same lawyer, that we should settle for the guy that drives the bus.
Ooh, I'd love to know what Ebony had to say about this.
Thank you. Thank you, because I know she's probably rolling around in her bed. Like, you see, they want to come for me, and here we have this Black man. I know, I feel you, girl. because ultimately no other race of women are asked to do this. Is a
It's true.
matter of fact, they're actually groomed not to accept a man that can't provide to the top potential. Okay? That I've seen white women, we've heard of different crimes where white women will kill their man, okay, if he can't bring home the bacon.
That's true, eh? Whew.
So how the hell are you expecting me, black woman, who, hold on, now I'm gonna put it real good for you right here. I'm gonna sum it up real good for you right here. Us black women have to, from the time that we wake up to the time that we go to sleep, we have to deal with microaggressions. We have to go out into this world, into a man-based society that only caters to men most of the time. Okay? We have to be at the bottom of the totem pole. We have to be the smartest, the fastest, the best at everything that we do. And you want me to accept less than what I am willing to give?
Hmm.
So, Tyler Perry, several seats, please, sir. Yes, you're going to get the backlash. And it seems like he doesn't really care about the
Of
backlash.
course not. Mhm.
Okay. And that's fine. That's fine. But I don't think you should have done that, because who you are, most of your films are geared towards is the black woman.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you're now telling the black woman in all of your skits. That's the irony. In all of your skits where you play Medea, that character tries to uplift black woman, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And yet you take off the dress and now you want to put me down as a black woman and tell me what I should accept and not accept. You're not the right messenger.
Definitely not.
And
Absolutely not.
furthermore, are you married to a black woman?
He was. I don't know if he's still with that woman.
Oh, was.
I'm not sure if he. Let me actually
Yeah.
look if
We're
he's
going to
still
look that up
married.
right now,
We.
because from what I understand, he's not. Okay? From my understanding, Tyler Perry is not married. Okay? And that at one point he was,
Mm.
and that he divorced her.
Yeah, I believe. I have a feeling he is divorced, but I was just gonna see for sure. It looked like it was like a Ethiopian. Yeah, Ethiopian woman.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
But I
Isn't that
do
interesting?
recall hearing that.
In 2020 December, Perry announced that he is a single bachelor. And
Okay.
ever
Yeah.
since then, he has not gotten married.
Okay. Yeah.
So he has a relationship. I think he's with this I think she's yeah. She looks like she's Ethiopian.
Mm. Yeah.
But no, he's not married. So I
Mm.
just find it funny how you're telling black women what they should and shouldn't do. But what do you think about this, Jeanette? What do you think about Tyler Perry and what he has to say as us
I
black women?
I am with you in that as his status now in the world, he should not make. First of all, no man really, but more or less Tyler Perry.
Thank
And
you.
here's why it's extra insulting. Like, all your points. I'm with you with all your points in the fact that you are a million sitting a millionaire. I'm sorry, a billionaire. Correction, a
Thank
billionaire.
you.
You know how rich you have to be a billionaire. God
Thank
damn.
you.
So you are sitting in billionaire land,
Right?
telling black women who
Thank you.
are the most disadvantaged in, at least we can talk about American society, one of the most
Yeah?
disadvantaged, a-
100%.
and you are telling them to just pretty much gather the
So,
crumbs. You're
right? And
telling
be
them
okay
to
with it.
and be okay with it. And here's the thing. I know, even if I want to I can look at it as he's coming from a pure place. So let's say he's coming from a pure place and he wants his black women and friends and stuff to have love. That's kind of seems like the angle he was trying to take. But the thing is, the men that decide that, unfortunately, the truth of the matter is most men will have who are, not are at a different level than you, like he said,
Mhm.
are going to harbor some type of resentment eventually.
That's
Everything's
right.
all honky dory when you just start dating because you have that new love energy. You're just happy to have that excitement of having a
Right?
trap. You just have that
Yep.
new relationship excitement that you kind of overlook a lot of things. But eventually, when you move forward with the relationship, those men get bitter. Those men get resentful. Those men get jealous. And
That's
they will
right.
try. I'm sorry, I'm not, I don't like to generalize, but it's true. That is a pattern, is that they are resentful that they don't have control. Then they can't have control because they are not the breadwinner. And don't get me wrong, I think there are some men who are completely 100% comfortable with who they are and what they bring to
Yep.
a woman, but those are a rare breed. Those are hidden gems. I believe that they can exist. I do believe there could be a guy out there who's like, you know what? She makes more than me, but I know what I bring to the table. I know what I give to her, and I'm comfortable with that. You know what I mean? I do believe that can happen, but it's very, very rare.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the exception, not the standard, unfortunately,
Mhm.
Tyler. And so that was my first thing. And then second, it's like you said, it's like, how will the thing is, him talking to us, almost,
Like,
I'm going to say talking down to us
ugh.
black women. When I say us, I mean black women.
Yes, that is it.
And you,
Yes.
as a billionaire and a leader,
Thank you.
you should be talking to the bloody men.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why, how did we get into this? You said it in the intro of that statement. He said it. Black women are at the, they're making the money. They're more educated.
Mhm.
They're more advanced in life in terms of, like, where they are. So that we know what we're doing. We kind of we know the code.
Right?
You need to talk to the brothers now and help them, like, decipher to them what they need to do and get right, and to not be at a disadvantage anymore.
What I don't understand about Tyler's comment, okay, is that Tyler himself went through the struggle.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Yep,
He went
yep,
and
he's homeless.
he talks about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was homeless, all sorts of things. People didn't believe in him. They were slamming doors in his face, left, right, and damn center. Yet you stand today as a billionaire who can go and buy land and
Whew.
make a huge studio that's over a plantation. Like, come on, the type of history you're making.
Mm.
God blessed you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
he also
much.
blessed you with a message. And I'm sorry, you obviously weren't listening real good to God, because the message wasn't for us black women. The message was for black men. That's who the message was for. That just like how the message and your testimony can resonate more with black men than it can with a black woman. You, coming from the struggle as a black man, have something to give knowledge wise to black men to level them up.
Mm.
And you choose to break down black women so that we could be on their level. Nah, fam. If
None.
you
I would.
could rise above that level, then you should be using your testimony
Mm.
to help other men do the same. But instead, you want me to meet you where you're at? Nah, fam. Sorry, I'm too high up in the clouds. I can't even see you. So you need to help your brother level up so he can be in the clouds with the rest of us.
Yes. L- we need to all pull each other up, not down, because if we were to follow the men, we'd be pulled down, unfortunately.
The joke is that here's the thing is that I've realized amongst most black women, we don't want to fight. We don't really want the struggle. We don't
No,
really
we're
want
tired.
the
We've had
struggle.
it long enough.
You know, I think we did it out of necessity. I
Mm-hmm.
think we did it out of, well, who else the hell is going to do it? I mean, we had the highest number of fatherless homes. We have the highest number of, because they always like to talk about, oh, we're the higher earners, we have all this, we have all that. You know how? Because at one point in time, we were at the bottom of the financial totem pole, and our families needed somebody to step up and provide for them. And unfortunately, these mans them wasn't doing it.
Mm,
As a matter of fact, they were running away from it, creating other homes that have no fathers.
mm,
Okay? So now we had to step into the role out of necessity, not out of desire. I didn't desire to be a single mother. I didn't desire to have to work my ass off to make sure my kid could have the rest like everybody else. Nobody desires to do that. But we had to. And then when we got comfortable in the role, we figured out how to penetrate certain spaces. Now you want me to be dumbed down? Nah, fam. You need to come the fuck up. That's what you need to do. Not tell me to come down. Because if anything, when you fall, right, as a man, don't you want your woman to still be up? Don't you want her to be able to hold down the house? Don't you
mm,
want her to be able to hold down the children and the finances?
mm.
So I can't come down, friend. I can't come down. Because until we're on the same level, until you can elevate me, because that's another thing. I don't see nobody elevating us.
Mm.
Like honestly,
We're
I don't see
elevating
nobody
ourselves.
elevating us.
We're elevating
We
ourselves.
have to do it ourselves. All right? And so I'm not going to be listening to somebody of the likes of a billionaire who's telling me to come down while these men are not coming up. So you want us, so basically what you're telling me is you want us to stay at this mediocre life. That's what you want us to stay at. Well, us women, we want better for our children. We want better for ourselves. We want better for our family. And so, out of necessity, we did that. So
And I
don't you
guess
now come tell me
it's
that I shouldn't be doing that. Too damn bad. I don't
and
want to do it. So how about you level up so I don't have to? You understand? So listen, Tyler, he done mess with the wrong one today. Because
yeah,
when I
you know
heard
what?
him,
But here, you know what? To
whew,
your point there, yeah, yeah, a girl, woosah, woosah.
whew,
But the thing
Lord.
is, like you said, you mentioned a good point with the children. We said we're trying to break some generational curses, right?
Hello. Like,
Black women have worked hard to get themselves to be the most educated demo. In definitely, I know in America, it's black women that are the most educated. That's like statistically where, in terms of degrees and shit like that, in terms of growth, year over year of who's really going after these degrees, right?
thank you.
But like, what if you do that and you have children with a man like that, and your children see you as a woman literally trying to drag somebody up?
Thank you.
But you made a good point before we wrap things up that I really
Mm-hmm.
want to think. It's about being equally yoked, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something you said. It's not about, at the end of the day, we're a little bit annoyed, but it's not about money. If there's any men listening here, and they're not saying you need to be a millionaire. Like, everybody can't be a millionaire. We're not asking for that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we want a man who knows if he's going to have his partner, his wife, and his children, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
if he wants to be the leader, take the place rightfully in your traditional, all these men with traditional values popping out the woods, yet they
Out of
don't
the
have
woodwork.
traditional, but they don't have traditional real values because
Right?
they ain't saying nothing really. But
Not a damn
yeah,
thing.
if you
Mm-hmm.
want to yeah, you need to be going after something pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's asking you to be making $500,000 a year, but you need to be actively trying to be somebody who's secure. Let's say, we're
Mm-hmm.
not talking about a number. Somebody who's secure, somebody who has goals, somebody who wants to be able to shelter his family,
Right?
um and
It's a
not be
mentality.
it's
It's
a
a mentality.
mentality. That's it. Not, let's move away the dollars and cents. Let's focus on somebody who has that mentality is not going to be broke.
Right? I've always thought that a man should have ambition and motivation. And when he has those two things in life, the sky's the limit.
Mm,
Now, if you have one and not the other, I find that you stay stagnant.
mm,
And I find that it's very easy for them to fall off. Now, I'm not talking about dollars and cents, even though we're saying, he's a billionaire, Tyler Perry's a billionaire, and all this stuff. I'm not talking about dollars and cents. I'm talking about a billionaire's mentality. A
mm,
billionaire's mentality is somebody who will make sure that generationally their kids are good.
mm,
Now, in order for you to do that, you got to want it. You got to desire it. You got to get up every day with every intention to make sure that your kids is good. Now, you can't do that behind a video game. You can't do that sitting on my couch. You can't do that when you're absent from the household. You can't do none of that. So, I hear what Tyler Perry was saying, but he's the wrong messenger. Number one, and number two, how about you hold your brothers accountable first? How about we have that conversation about them brothers first? Because like Kanye said, whenever he get on, he go leave your ass for the white girl.
mm.
That's another problem. That's another issue. That when he does get to a level, will he choose a black woman? Will he choose a black woman? So it's all about a mentality in my mind. Because even if he gets to a point where he's elevated himself, will he choose a black woman himself? So you can say I should accept the scrub who wants to sit on my couch, eat up my kids snacks, sit, scratch his balls all day while I'm tripsing and trailing into work in the sleet, snow, rain. I'm dealing with the kids, I'm dealing with the house, I'm dealing with everything, while he gets to sit and freeload and say, oh, I'm gonna take you to our yearly buffet.
Oh,
Nah,
what?
fam, I'm
Mm,
not about that life. It's a mentality. And so I think what Tyler Perry should be doing is pouring himself into other black men and elevating their mentality to match their counterpart, which is a
mm,
black woman. And not only that, but once they've reached that point, you should be giving them an example of what black love looks like as a billionaire. Maybe you should be doing that. How about you not tell me one more goddamn thing I need to do as a black woman? How about that?
how about
My
that?
plate's already damn full. My list is too damn long. I don't need nobody else called Tyler Perry, the billionaire, to be studio owner, to be coming to tell me nothing about what I need to do. Point blank period. Tyler, you were wrong for this one. I'm sorry. How about you just go put back on that dress and
Woo!
you just go tell Medea what you said. How about you go tell the character of Medea what the hell you just said? Because I'm sorry, fam, I'm not the one. Cause I'm gonna tell you straight, you dead wrong, Tyler. You dead wrong. Go talk to your fellow brother before you come talk to me. And with that being said, we're gonna wrap this up right now, and we hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show because it was hot. This one
Mm.
was hot. And so, whether you lead with your heart or your mind, we ask you to stay passionate, stay thoughtful, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye.
Bye.